Welcome to part 3 of our Gundam Seed Destiny movie, or part 2 of Gundam Seed Destiny movie part 3.
Three.
Oh, Lord.
All right, so we left off our intrepid heroes with Luna crying on the back of Shin, and this was a very interesting scene because, uh, at the time, Luna had just found out that Shin actually killed her sister,
Mm-hmm.
presumably, and then they instantly go into full-blown relationship mode.
Yeah, suddenly they're just embracing each other and crying on each other. And they're crying on each other into the awkward transition into the next battle. But before we get into this battle, I'm going to anger a lot of you Shin and Luna shippers. While I feel like the show is trying to portray this as romantic, I did not feel that was coming off of this at all. The way that they fall into each other's arms like that, the way that they're clinging to each other, to me this is fracking for convenience. These are two people who have been emotionally beat up, disturbed, are this close to being emotionally numb, and they're trying to find that warmth in someone else. So they're just gonna frack because they just want to feel human.
Now, in the series, we were more willing to accept it. I know I personally was, and you mentioned that you yourself, in the series, you were more okay with it.
In the TV series, I was more okay with it, but like in the movie, when I realized how quickly they go into that after he killed her sister.
I think you described it best, is that they're just trying to find solace in each other, not from an emotional connection, but so that they don't lose themselves, essentially.
Which would be easy to do because they've just lost a lot of friends. They've lost friends, they've lost lovers, they've lost a lot in these last few battles. It's been an emotionally straining time for the Minerva. And I mean, I'm not saying it judgmentally, but I mean, it's a very human thing to do. And I don't really don't feel like it's a legitimate romance between the two. I just feel like
Yeah.
it's just there because they need to find comfort in something.
And as you mentioned, this was taking place while getting ready for war.
We have the worst transition in the entire movie. Without any explanation, suddenly they're at Heaven's Base, where apparently Jabril, the metrosexual Bond villain who we've mentioned before, who leads Logos, was supposed to be. And this is just random. We didn't know what was going on. If it weren't for the fact that I am a walking mobile suit encyclopedia, I would not have known who was shooting who, and even I was having trouble.
He was recognizing Max, and I was just trying to figure out what was going on.
The only thing that was really fun about this sequence was a couple of the Seed MSV mobile suits show up. The mass production versions of the Raider and Forbidden, which you might remember as the druggy Gundams from the first series, but that does not make up for what I saw, this nonsense on screen.
It was just constant fighting, just clip after clip of mechs blowing up, getting attacked from each other. We couldn't figure out, if you were paying attention, did you actually see Shin in there? He was transitioning between all the different or somebody in the Impulse.
Yeah,
somebody in the Impulse. We don't know who's piloting it.
I think in the TV series it was Luna, I'm guessing, because she's the only pilot left.
True.
But
we don't see her piloting it.
But the Minerva now has 3 mobile suits, but we don't really see any transition. We're just trying to figure out what's going on.
Oh, by the way, Sting is back.
Yeah! Sting comes back! They have mass production Destroy Gundams.
Which actually stay true to their name yet. In fact, they get destroyed instantly.
They're not even on screen for a minute. Why they brought Sting back is beyond me.
He dies right away, getting stabbed in the same fashion that we just saw Shin stab 2 other heroes in.
Yeah, except this time we actually see him bleeding into his helmet, I think.
Yeah, we actually saw the sword go through him, so we're pretty sure he's dead
But
now.
why bring him back? And if you're going to use the Destroy Gundams, why do they suck so much?
Like, Shin cuts one in half. Right down the middle.
I wish I was... He's not kidding. This happens.
And to put this in perspective, the Gundams were about the size of the head of the Destroy Gundam. Like, when they're standing side to side, they're not going up past the shin. Get it?
We didn't really mention... The Destroy Gundam is an obvious homage to the Psycho Gundam in Zeta.
So, huge.
Yeah.
And they're cutting these things in half. They're falling over, exploding.
They are just pathetic. I mean, it makes Sting's coming back so pointless. Not that Sting had a character to begin with, so his death wasn't all that shocking the first time, but the only thing shocking about it this time was how brutal it was.
And
it could have been anyone in that cockpit. It didn't have to be Sting.
And to put this into perspective, this fight sequence in the series probably lasted one, if not 2 episodes.
I want to say it was 2 episodes, because I want to say like the cliffhanger in the TV series was Sting showing up in the Destroy Gundams.
And they cram, so like what was presumably about an hour into 2 minutes. Like, seriously, that is how fast this battle, like, this is a big fight, goes down in 2 minutes. It's over.
We were just confused and angry, and we actually paused. That was the next spot we paused the movie at.
This was like part 2.
Because, like, Brian's like, wait, we have to pause. And
what just happened?
I stopped. Yeah, it's like, what the hell is going on? Slow down, movie. What was any of this about? The battle ends with Zaft winning, but our favorite metrosexual Bond villain got out of there, so much for that. I don't know what was accomplished.
Yep. And then we have some other great editing. We cut back to the Archangel, specifically Atherin, waking up, and the first thing he sees is Kira, to which we put, oh man, I must be in heaven.
No, we're alive.
Are you sure? 'Cause you were dead. And he looks up, and across the room
is Moo Mother Effin' LaFlaga.
We forgot to mention in the last episode when he got taken out in the Stella fight.
When Neo got taken out.
When Neo got taken out in the Stella fight, Muru spotted him and decided to bring him on board because he looked like someone who died in Seed.
Moo LaFlaga, now sporting a mullet, was Neo the whole time. He had Moo's voice. But, dear God, I didn't want to get to this point. This is so stupid. Why did they do this? Moo sacrificed himself heroically in the first Gundam Seed. It's an awesome scene. He blows up, saving the ship. He tells them, he takes a particle cannon, as in one of the Archangel plasma particle cannons, to his suit when it's about to hit the bridge of the Archangel, and he says that great line, I told ya I can make the impossible possible, and he gets disintegrated.
We're left in the original Seed series. His helmet is floating out in space with blood in it. Not even Roy Fokker walks back from that.
And Moo LaFlaga is no Roy Fokker. He is good, but he is no Roy Fokker.
But at the beginning of Seed Destiny, the series, Muru had been building up a relationship with
Andrew Waltfeld.
Which worked really well.
They were cute together, actually.
they were really good together. Waltfeld had lost his wife in the last war, and Muru had lost her lover, basically at the end.
And she was enjoying his coffee. Everyone remember how much Waltfeld loves his coffee? I mean,
they were living in a house together.
They seem to be getting on great.
And then when Moo comes back, Waltfeld is thrown aside. In fact, he's not even around in this part until much later.
And they never deal with the emotional impact of that. And
Waltfeld, I guess, it must not have been a big deal for him to lose the potential new love of his life.
that's such a wrong choice to make. I mean, it was wrong to bring Mu back to begin with. Because I don't know what was accomplished in bringing him back other than the shock of, oh, hey, he's back. Hi. But but then you take apart this good relationship.
And everything that he did is destroyed.
It's like they're trying to. It's at this point in the movie where I was saying to Arcemise, I felt like they were trying to undermine the past continuity. It's like first we have the Destroy Gundams, and they're not nearly as tough as what they were earlier in the movie. And Sting isn't dead, even though he should have been from earlier in the movie. But then it's not enough just to undermine the movie in and of itself. It starts undermining the bigger parts of Seed. Mu's sacrifice. It's now so meaningless.
It was a very frustrating part of Seed Destiny.
And it's frustrating here almost more so because it's compacted.
Yeah.
You've got all of these mess ups coming at you at once.
Yeah.
Absolute insanity.
Which is funny because Ray has a great line in here where it's all starting to make sense. To which we both replied, "What?
Wait, what?"
Nothing's making sense. We were even commenting at this point that the show seems becoming more stupid because it's complicated.
Yeah, it's getting so complicated, it's dumb. It has actually reached the point that it is so ridiculously complicated that it has become stupid. I didn't even think that was possible, but
it happened. Though there are some good parts coming up, so let's keep us rolling.
Yeah, let's skip to that.
We cut to Space Lacus, as in the real Lacus, up in space, wearing her ninja outfit.
Her not so charming ninja outfit.
Whose skirt goes just about as far down as Kira's uniform goes. Which is scary. Well,
we complained about that last
yeah.
review, but I'm still on it.
It's still on. We see her, they're about to move out. She's up in space with Waldfeld on the
Eternal.
The Eternal.
The Eternal has finally come back, and it still has the meteors on it, so we can overpower Freedom again, so that's good.
And so we again cut back to Athrun and those guys and what we called the room full of dead people. Because it's Athrun sitting there, who's presumably dead. There's Mu in the bed across the way, which every time he sits up is the same animation.
I'd love to be inside Athrun's head trying to comprehend this. I'm definitely dead. This is ridiculous.
No, Athrun, you're totally fine.
Maybe they're right. Maybe Marin, she wasn't wearing a seatbelt. She has to be dead.
She has to be dead. She walks in with a little rolly tube thingy.
And then Athrun, yeah, I'm dead. There's no way I'm not dead.
There's no way I'm not dead. So, yeah. Let's see.
They are getting word that Lacus is under attack because the Zaft crew found them.
And so Kira decides, I'm gonna go up and help my hubby.
Or his wifey?
Wifey? Hubby?
Yeah. Wait.
Lover.
Yes. Anyway, without skipping a beat, almost before Athrun is still lying there in bed, confused. Kira goes running out, jumps into the Strike Rouge, which amazingly he has reprogrammed the phase shift armor so that it will be in the Strike's colors, and launches immediately, which is amazing. I don't know how he was able to launch that quickly.
Honestly, I think they reused the animation, but it looked like they sped it up to show him going into space. This is the easiest get into space mission ever.
Of any Gundam series. Especially considering that Gundam Seed, the original, has what is, in my opinion, one of the most epic we need to get into space sequences when they're escaping Orb, and Kira and Athrun have to work together to fight off the druggies. That was an awesome sequence.
Uh-huh.
This is not one of those awesome sequences.
This is, I'm in space.
So
and he shows up to the battlefield where Walfelt is in Stella's
Gundam. He's recolored it orange like his logo, but yeah, he's in Stella's Gundam. Where did he get it? I don't know.
I don't know. This show is for people.
That's
and
for Japanese babies.
And one other thing we want to point out about this space fight is everyone's in a goof. Specifically the Rambaral goof, which they all need to use the whip to grab people's guns and make them explode. But we do want to emphasize the fact that the goof was the ground unit.
It was the big pinnacle of Zeon ground mobile suit goodness. I mean...
Well, Zaku's fought well in space. They could fight on the ground. The goof was designed to fight on the ground.
The goof was designed to take everything that Zaku's were bad at ground combat and be 10 times better at it.
You don't get to be a goof pilot in space unless you're crazy like me playing the Japanese Gundam 0081 game. Check it out, by the way. It's a fun game. So that was a confusing thing. Like, everyone in space was in a goof.
There were a couple Zakus, but still, it was just...
And so, yeah, Walfelt runs into Kira, and he's like, dude, go get your new machine. I got a new machine? Sweet!
That's right. It doesn't even feel like Kira has lost anything, because he already has a new machine. And some of you are thinking, wait a minute, Freedom Gundam was really overpowered. How do you one-up that?
How do you go better than that? Well, let us tell you.
Have you ever heard of the Strike Freedom? Kira is introduced to this after running into Lacus, and they have...
Literally, oh, yay!
It's so saccharine sweet. I love you too. I mean...
And then the ship gets rocked, and Kira uses his body to protect him from bouncing against the wall, and he's like, oh, thank you for protecting me.
Yeah, they're so... saccharine, sweet, perfect, and I'm just...
Lacus is God.
Lacus is God. We're all sheep. So then she shows him Strike Freedom. Strike Freedom is the most overpowered Gundam lead character unit. Ever. This
takes out Wing Zero.
This takes out... You know, for everyone, it still blows me away that people complained about the 00 Riser when they knew that this thing exists.
Yeah.
I just don't have words. To give you the idea of the payload, twin beam rifle, so it can John Woo. The twin beam rifles can combine together into a larger beam rifle. 2 linear guns still attached to the hips. A particle cannon in its tummy. Much like the ones that it used to have in its wings. Its wings no longer housing 2 particle cannons, but now carrying funnels! That's right! Kira's a new type now, apparently.
And they're not, your daddy's funnels. These things tear apart cruiser ships. These are high-powered beams.
And he, of course, still has beam sabers. And beam shields, because this is F91 now.
So... he's got everything. Can't wait till he gets the meteors out.
Oh, Lord. Why does he even need it at this point?
But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
So here he is with his super machine. He takes out everyone and really quickly. He gets a glorious opening with a chorus singing...
It's a choir.
A heavenly choir. That... ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Back on Earth, we cut to Shin, who's having flashbacks of some of the war that he's experienced, which was really interesting for his character to be struggling with these kind of things. The unfortunate part is he keeps flashbacking to things we saw earlier in this movie.
Yeah, he's only flashing back to this movie, which is a little odd. I mean, granted, I would rather have him doing that than obsessing over his sister's cell phone, which he did a lot of in the TV series, and oddly was an improvement to his character in these movies.
Most definitely.
But it's really an odd...
Yeah. So, like...
Game over, man. Game over.
he wakes up, cold sweat, shivering and everything. And Ray, who's of course his roommate, is there telling him, yeah, you were just having some bad flashbacks. It's because you're too emotional. You should be emotionless like me, because emotion's a weakness.
He's like, yeah, he's like, I should have been able to handle this. I knew you wouldn't be up for it. It's like, Ray, what have you done? I mean, aside from being a manipulative jerk, what have you done? I haven't seen you making all these kills that you claim you're able to make.
Well, that's because the whole war was fought in 2 minutes. So, we then cut to this new report coming in that our favorite Logos member, Jabril, is apparently hiding out in Orb. Of course.
Of course.
Who doesn't go to Orb? I mean,
in this series, that's a valid question.
Everyone goes to Orb. It's like Disney World, Everyone goes there.
So our favorite Dum-Dum, remember purple mullet guy Yuna, who we were complaining about last episode?
He's still there.
He's still there. He's still in charge.
What does it take to get rid of this guy? Seriously, does he have to be in term for about a year before they can kick him out?
Why would anyone possibly do that?
I don't know. People are sheep. And they still have to begrudgingly go along with what he said.
Everyone at Orb is upset with him now.
Everyone in Orb hates him. And this is what he says. He gets on publicly, just says, Orb is not housing this guy, and we will see any action. We are offended by this force that's being taken towards us, and any more action we will respond in kind.
And Zaft is like, alrighty.
Durandal is like, I'm tired of this. We're going in. There's definitely a mood shift from him being, his kind of subtle, manipulative Palpatine to full-on Emperor. Go take them out.
Kill him.
Kill him.
Good.
And back at Orb, we cut to him, Yuna again, saying, why are they coming here? We told them that it wasn't here. And his second in command is standing there, he's like, because they know it's a lie.
And he's like, worked with the Archangel.
This is completely different, you
moron. So Zap starts launching their mobile suits into Orb. And
Orb is not prepared at all.
No one is doing anything. There are no Astrays out. There's no mobile suits out at all. The Zaft machines start raising hell before Orb even has their first machine launched.
Honestly, there was kind of a terrifying scene where the Zaft, jets are flying through downtown Orb. The windows are rattling on buildings and everything. And I was just totally freaked out that they were just going to start bombing the crap out of civilians. Because that's what has happened in Seed Destiny. We get mass destruction of civilians, and graphically, and they do that well. So I was really worried. Thankfully, they're only attacking the Capitol, the building itself.
But still, it's they don't have any defenses prepped. And they're like, and Yuna's like, why aren't there anything out there? And then they're like,
launch them now.
And they're like, well, we're waiting for your word. So he launches some stuff, and there's a bunch of reused animation from the first Seed Battle of Orb. I'm not kidding.
And then we cut back to the Archangel, and Kigali is on board, and
the only good part of this part of the movie.
Yeah. Kigali is arguing with pretty much everyone on board that she wants to go save her country. She's fed up with being stuck on this stupid ship. I want to go fight.
And everyone's like, I don't know.
And then her big Native American friend from
Sure,
Seed?
We'll just go with that. I don't know.
I don't know what his name was.
He looks like a weird... He looks like a big, Indian stereotype. So we'll just go with that. Whatever.
He says... I know. I'm gonna. That's why you have to come with us. So he takes her to the basement of the Orb Capital, where we find the Akutatsuki.
The Akatsuki. Or they say Akatsuki in this,
Yeah.
which I'm sorry to all of you for pronunciation, especially you Naruto fans out there, but it's pronounced Akatsuki. Get over it.
Now, the thing about this suit that we find, it's covered in gold. Specifically to
Good!
gold. It's designed to reflect beams that are shot at it, which actually makes it a pretty formidable defensive unit.
It also looks a lot like the Yakushiki.
What are you talking about? They couldn't possibly remake. Oh God.
They're not stealing big
Yeah.
elements from Zeta Gundam in this.
No.
No.
Why would they say that?
That's ridiculous.
You're stupid.
At least the Destiny doesn't transform. I can be happy with that. Anyway,
The thing about this suit that's in the basement is that it's been there since her father was in power, which was about 4 or 5 years ago.
well, it'd have to be like, it was only a 2-year jump from
True.
in the story.
He would have had to have that suit ready by the time he died, because he has a recording of himself saying, "If you find yourself needing more power, we got this thing for you."
Which opens up a lot of questions, like, hey, why didn't you give us that during the first war? Or
Honestly, this suit is very powerful.
it's on par with all the modern machines, even though it was made years before.
So Kigali comes out back in gold and actually is fighting again. Yes!
Oh, I wanted to hug her. I was so happy. I was so happy.
She's out there taking out people that are attacking her country, and at the same time, she's on the radio with Yuna, who's like, "Yay, you came to save me!
My honey!
My honey!" And then she does something very smart. She's like, "So are you recognizing me as the legitimate heir, the Kigali Yuna Atha, or Yula Atha, as the rightful heir to the orb?"
And he's
nation?
like, oh yeah,
Of course
sure.
I do. I love you.
I love you.
It's like, good. Would anyone there arrest him for treason?
And one of the guards punches him in the face.
And 5 more dogpile him. Like, they jump on him.
Like,
Rightfully so. They were waiting for that
for
order.
this little bit, I was really happy. Because it was like, oh, Kigali's back. Oh, this is fantastic.
And then she starts getting into a fight with Shin.
Who has launched from the Minerva under... I do really like his line when he's before he's launching, he's not sure if he's going to go out. And Ray's like, of course, I'll go out and do it. And Shin's like, no. If anyone's going to destroy Orb, it's going to be me.
A very cold line, but again, showing where Shin's character has taken him. This still, as nonsensical as the second half of this movie has been, Shin still has some very great character parts for him.
I have a bad feeling this is the last time we're going to get to say that.
This is probably going to be the last time we get to say that. Also, some more editing choices. We also cut to the scene where Muru is letting Mu go, like giving him one of the core boosters and just saying, "You're not the guy that I was kind of hoping you were." Like, he doesn't obviously remember that he's Mu, so she's like, here's a plane, go do with it what you will. And at the same time, I even commented, "There's a fight going on just like across the lake." Like, what is the captain of the Archangel doing?
Is she hoping that he'll get killed?
But I did want to point out that also in this movie, whether or not he's in the mindset of Mulaflaga or if he's still a Neo Roanoke, this guy has gotten so many breaks.
Yeah, this is insane.
People trust him for no reason.
If I met a man in a dark outfit, wearing a mask with a mullet, and Unicorn has made me distrust mulleted masked men a lot more, but still, if I met a guy with this mullet and this mask and this dark uniform who's on the opposite side from which I am fighting, he is not someone I would trust. Even if he takes that mask off, I'm sorry.
You wouldn't trust him with a fighter plane. You wouldn't trust him with your girlfriend.
You don't
You
trust him
don't
with
trust
these things.
this guy. He has done nothing to show that you can trust him.
He's personally responsible for so much of the violence in this show.
Of young characters.
Yeah,
He was the one controlling all of our was it enhanced?
yeah, the extendeds.
Extendeds, sorry. And he was the one setting them off to war and forgetting, like programming their minds so that they would forget that their comrades died.
I mean, brainwashed or not, he has the blood of a lot of young people on his hands.
Why are they trusting this guy? Don't know.
I mean, even now, I can see the argument of if it's Mulaflaga has come back, it's like, okay, well, of course we can trust Mu, but at the same time, we don't have any reason to trust him. We don't know that Mu has come back.
In fact, he continually states that he is not Mu, that he is a captain.
He is the captain. Yeah, it's terrible.
He made a point out of that. And then we cut back to the fight because that's what happens. And Shin, who's been attacking the Akatsuki, realizes his beams aren't working because they're reflecting off or getting sent back at him. So he goes in for the sword kill.
If worst comes to worst, go with the sword. That'll do it.
And Kagali's able to knock him back, like, away from her for a second, but then he throws two of his blades at her.
The beam boomerangs.
The beam boomerangs. And down from the heavens would descend
Mecha Christ, with TM Revolution blaring as he comes down.
He's coming down mech hand with Lacus, who's piloting the Infinite Justice, which is going to be Atherin's new suit. And
unoriginal names.
Kira shows up, gets into a fight with Shin. This time, the boot's on the other foot.
He owns Shin. You have at one point Kira throwing his rifles in the air as Shin comes at him with the sword, then catching Shin's blade and linear rifling him at point blank.
Yeah.
Insanity.
And this is about where we end, actually.
Atherin gets the chance to look at his new machine and
talk to Lacus.
In her bright pink spacesuit.
Which is great because Atherin is being carried in to the hangar by Marin. And we have Lacus turn around and look at him. And we couldn't help but, put words into Lacus's mouth.
Oh, hi, Atherin. Oh, who's this whore?
Oh, man. We're horrible people.
And then
honestly,
Lacus switches into her skimpy ninja outfit, and then we were like,
Marin's like, who's this? It's just fun.
We should be the writers of Seed Destiny.
Oh, man.
Great.
So, Atherin hops into Infinite Justice. He launches dramatically, and again, much more emphasis on his entrance than Shin got with Destiny's launch. But we end the movie there.
And this is where we're at. So, let's summarize our thoughts on how amazingly this fell apart. Because let's face it, after how much we praised that first half, it's amazing how much that this is so much worse. How much this breaks it down so much. Rips it to shreds.
We start off by doing too much at once. Like I said, we had to pause this movie 3 times in order to figure out what happened moments before.
I really want to emphasize, Arcemise and I are very big supporters of Gundam. We've been watching it since we were, really young teenagers. We're not new to watching Gundam battles and knowing what's going on. And I didn't understand. It was too easy to get lost in this nonsense.
Yeah. We didn't know who was fighting who was piloting what. And again, it's just so much is happening, and things are thrown at us, like the relationship between Shin and
Luna.
Like, all of a sudden they're a couple. Like, we see them kissing. And this is just, for us, this isn't a minute after we get the scene where Shin goes up and tells Luna he's sorry that he just killed her sister.
It's so random, and I mean, and for those of you who are wondering, yes, the schizophrenic editing is not helping, but the series itself made these mistakes too.
Mm-hmm.
And they hurt there just as much. There's this section is such a mess, and it's becoming clear where things are going, and I'm not enjoying it. I don't like that Kira is becoming more
powerful.
He's becoming more powerful. It's not as focused. I liked the idea of having Shin and Kira on equal ground, because it meant that we had two protagonists, both of whom we had a lot of reason to like, who hate each other. And that's interesting.
Yes.
And slowly but surely, Shin is being turned into the character who we're not supposed to be rooting for.
Yeah.
And that's not fun. I'm not liking this. I don't enjoy where this is going. We have the Akatsuki and the ridiculousness of that being underneath Orb this whole time. The only thing that I can give it credit for is I built the model kit. Because I'm a huge Gunpla junkie, as many of you know. Incidentally, I'm looking for more unicorn kits. Anyway, but I built the model kit, and it does bear a lot of resemblance to the Strike. And I'll give it credit for that. So that at least it was an old Orb design. But seriously, guys.
Yeah.
Like, third generation mobile suit, it's just been down there? Really?
It's like if a ball was a mad killing machine and you see, like, it could take out Hijax and whatnot.
Well, it would almost be more like if the Double Zeta had been inside Side 7 since before the first episode of Original Gundam. That's hilarious. What it would have been. That's what it felt like. It was just insanity.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate that this had to happen in the movie. It was, like we were saying, we were hitting a huge high point with some amazingly great things happening story-wise, character-wise.
And then we get another low point. I mean, that didn't even, like, balance it out. It just dragged the rest of the movie down with it.
And honestly, unfortunately, because of this, like, this section, I would have given, like, a 1.5, because, like, there's still some moments in it that are great, like Kigali coming back and more character development on Shin. But still, the pacing is horrible. It's hard to keep track of what's going on, and yeah, unfortunately it drags, like, the whole movie down.
Kira, in particular, I'm not sure I really understand where he's going. Lacus, what was there to be done with her at this point? And she's still in such a godlike state. Kira, I know I've probably said this before, but I don't like that he was without the freedom for only a little bit, and he gets a new one almost right away. I didn't like that. Just was really annoying. I guess it's time to do some wrap up stuff. So we have a last installment with this movie of Zeon Mobile Suit of the Week.
Woo!
On a lighter note. On a lighter note, here comes Zeon Mobile Suit of the Week.
Da-na-na.
Who's that Zeon Mech?
Da-na-na. It's Dome.
We have the Dom Trooper. Yay. Or the Dome Trooper, or the The awful, awful, awful machine trooper. And this time...
I remember shouting when I first saw this thing in the series, "You're not even trying. You are not even trying."
We've had some stuff. I mean, we've had the Zaku, interesting design. It had the striker packs, which were cool.
They were upgraded. They were neat looking. They were different, but still functional. The goof, a little more,
It had issues.
But it was still kind of a branch of the Zaku.
I was still willing to buy it.
The Dom?
They're not even trying. It looks like the Dom as it appeared in 8th MS Team. You don't even have to look up this Dom. If you saw the one in 8th MS Team, that's pretty much what it looks like.
And what was the acronym that they decided to go for?
The stupid acronym on this one, and this one is beyond stupid. It is Defensive Obliterator Magnificent.
Yeah.
The Defensive Obliterator Magnificent.
They even used the Jetstream attack as like a last punch in the face.
These things are terrible. The only thing that, they have beam rifles mounted underneath their bazookas, and they have beam shields. That's really the only difference. They just look like Doms.
And they're apparently mercenaries, too. Lacus hired them.
Yeah, totally random.
They're like everyone else is going like, "There's these new suits on the field. What do we do?" And Lacus calls them up. "Oh no, dude, I hired them. They're cool."
They're cool. Yeah, they're. By the way, there's 3 of them. So we have Black Tri-Stars. They're led by a one-eyed chick. I don't know why a coordinator would need an eye patch. I'd imagine they with all the genetic manipulation that they have right now, they could just, grow a new one. I'm not gonna even question it.
Don't even question that.
This thing is so stupid. There's nothing to question. All right.
I agree.
Our last to close things off, I think we're going to talk about Signs of the Apocalypse, which are pretty heavy at this point.
Didn't the apocalypse already happen?
I think the apocalypse is already upon us, but
I drew a giant line in my notes. Like, seriously, we got the ship is slowly going insane, and then Shin and Luna parrying after Shin kills her sister.
Basically everything after when Shin takes Atherin's goof down. It's just, basically, this video is Signs of the Apocalypse. The apocalypse may already be happening, and that's why movie 4 is really scary. And we're about to watch that for you.
For you.
For you.
For Zaft.
For Zaft. For Zaft! Quiet, Jimmy. Alright, so we'll talk to you guys after movie 4.
Thanks again for listening to us go on.
And let's hope that we don't have a big dumb ending waiting for us, but I have a feeling that it's not gonna be any different.
I still like that our reviews of this thing are lasting longer than the movie did.
Alright, peace out. Keep on spocking in the free world.
Good night, everybody.
Quick little amendment to our review. A couple of months after Arcemise and I recorded this, we found out that Maya Sakamoto, that's Luna Maria Hawk from the Japanese dub, and Kenichi Suzumura, who played Shin Asuka, got married. While neither of us bought the relationship that Shin and Luna had, we have nothing but the warmest congratulations to send to both Sakamoto and Suzumura. Both of you, please be happy in the years that you have together, and may your careers be just as successful as your marriage. So, we'll close this on a happy note. Thanks, and keep on spocking.